brand new season of the Penny Skelton Show. I wanted to start off this fall with a bang. We have two fabulous organizations that currently feed, clothe, and help our youth. So I'm very pleased to welcome Pastor Jane from the Hope Chapel, and she's going to explain to me a lot that I don't know about our community. And that's a big feat. So welcome, Pastor.
Thank you, Penny.
From now on, Jane.
There we are.
So tell me, what is the Hope Chapel? The who, what, where, when, why?
All right, so Hope Chapel is actually a congregation that celebrated its 128th year this year. So it began with two ladies who just decided that they wanted to provide ministry, food, clothing, etc., to all the shipyard workers.
Okay.
Way back when, in 1897. And so they actually set up shop on Simcoe Street,
Okay.
where we are taping
Where we
here
are
today.
in the Simcoe Street Theater. It's interesting to me because a group of ladies started our hospital. Now a group of ladies started a mission, I would call it,
Yes.
probably to begin with, for the shipyard workers and probably the men who came in and out in the boats.
Yes, and so it very quickly became a church.
Okay.
And through the years, obviously, it's had different locations, different people in charge.
Okay.
And so now we're situated at 19 Cameron Street, right across the road from CCI, or Collingwood Collegiate Institute.
I always get Cameron and Campbell mixed up still.
Yeah, still Cameron.
Okay. So where you went in to go to the office at CCI, you're
Right.
right across the road.
Right.
Okay, so what sort of a church is it now?
So we are what would be dubbed the Protestant church. I get asked this question all the time by students. So I explain
Not
to
an
them.
organized.
I explain to them
No
that we are
religion.
actually
Okay.
a evangelical missionary. That's our denomination, but
Okay.
it falls under. So in Christianity, you
Right.
have Orthodox, you have Catholic, you have Protestant.
Yeah.
We're in that ball
Protestant,
right
okay.
there. But they all believe the Bible. They all follow God.
Yeah.
We have different expressions.
Yeah, interesting. So how long have you been with the church?
So I started as a volunteer in 2016. I came on as unofficial volunteer staff in 2018, and then in 2020, I assumed the role that I have today, which is as the pastor of the church.
If I'm tugging at my memory here, wasn't there a young couple that were functioning out of the church?
There have been multiple
Multiples,
people,
okay.
and so you might be remembering Aaron and Danielle
Yes,
White,
Aaron and
who
Danielle,
are
yes.
Youth for Christ or Youth Unlimited now.
Okay.
Aaron is still with that organization, and he actually has space downstairs in our building.
Now, honestly, it's quite a big building
It is.
when you go by.
Doesn't look like it, but it is.
It is. It's a very big building. I've been in it a few times over the years. So, functioning church, do we do church services on Sundays or
Yes.
another day?
So we still have very much church happening.
Okay.
So there is a congregation that meets. It's a small little group,
Yeah.
but we share our building with 5 other nonprofits. So one of
Okay.
the nonprofits is another church. And so
Oh, okay.
we give them the morning on Sundays. They
Okay.
like to take out our couches and lounge chairs, which we've set our
Okay.
sanctuary up in. And they put in rows, and then when they're done, they put it all back.
Back,
And then we
okay.
come in and we actually arrange it like a small, like a large living room setting. So it's very
Okay.
much a discussion based, but it's Bible exploration. There's the singing. There's all the things you'd find in church, but intimate.
Can we name the 5 people that operate out of your church?
So the 5 organizations. So we have a chapter of AA that meets at
Okay.
the church. We have
Wonderful.
the Mobile Soup Kitchen,
Okay.
and so they've been with us for a number of years now. We have the World Worship Revival Center, so that is the other church that
Church, okay.
that uses the facilities. We also have Journey Church. So Journey Church, they're the organization, the church that rents the Galaxy. So they have that for
Okay.
their Sunday services, but they have no
Okay.
place for their children and youth and young adult ministries.
Now, Journey, who also run the restaurant?
The Journey's Blend.
Blend.
Yes, so
Okay.
that is Journey Community
Okay.
Church,
Okay.
and so they use our building for their kids club, their junior youth, their senior youth, and their young adults. Okay,
Okay.
and I think that's 5. Yes,
well
that's all
done.
of them.
And I'm amazed because everybody's got their time and their place
Yes,
and their purpose.
absolutely.
Okay. So we've got 5 not for profit or nonprofits located in it. As a church, this sounds silly. Do you have a tax number?
Of course.
Okay.
So we have charitable status, and anybody who's interested can go to our website at any time and find it at
And what is the website?
hopechapelcollingwood.ca.
Let's get this out
So,
of the way.
okay, so hopechapelcollingwood.ca.
Collingwood spelled out?
Yes, and
In
all
this
is
day-
one word, no dots, no dashes, no spaces.
In this day of texting, I'm seeing a lot of Seawood.
Okay, yeah, no.
No, Collingwood. Our whole, my hometown,
That's
the
right.
center
That's
of my heart. Okay. So we have a variety of things that happen there. Is the building open 24 hours a day?
Not quite,
Not quite,
almost.
okay.
We have 2 evenings right now where nothing
Okay.
happens, but other than
Okay.
that, there's
It's
always something
something-
happening at the building.
Okay. Interesting. How big is the Hope Chapel congregation?
So our congregation has a whopping 14 people.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have some a greater number in our membership list, but people who have moved away. There's just been a lot of transition through
Okay.
COVID and beyond, which
COVID affected a lot of things, and
it
we're still
really
not
did.
recovering.
It really did. And
Yeah.
so we are a small group, but a group that cares deeply about our community and want to do something about that.
And you're always looking for people to come out and
Absolutely.
see what you're all about? Let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So if somebody's looking for a home or a place of worship, your doors are open.
Our doors are open, but they would have to come at 1:30 on Sundays.
Okay.
So we're the church where you get to sleep in.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Speaking as an Anglican, my mother believed in the 8:30 services.
Right, right. So, I'm actually quite enjoying this later starts
Yes.
on Sunday, even as a minister, because it just gives another
The
chance
one
to
thing I have
wind
learned,
into-
there are people who celebrate on Saturdays, there are people who celebrate on Sundays, there are some people who celebrate Wednesday nights.
Absolutely.
It's very fluid. Okay, interesting. So what else? You have an office there, I presume? And do you also do one-on-one counseling with your parishioners, or
There is at times,
Okay.
but
As needed?
usually short term, because if somebody truly needs counseling,
Yes.
it's best to get them into counselors. So I don't assume that role
No.
because
Okay.
I don't. That's not my training.
Okay. What is your training?
My training is as I have a Bachelor of Religious Education,
Okay.
which allows me to work in churches, and I understand that
Okay,
world.
that world, okay.
But I also have a teacher's degree, so I understand the world of children and high school students.
Okay.
Yes.
Really?
Sort
I don't
of.
even sure
Sort
I
of.
understood high school when I was in high school. So, and I know it's changed. That's the other thing that's got to be so challenging.
There's definitely changes. Yes.
So I do know that you're a functioning church. You're a registered
Charity.
nonprofit charity. Charity is a better word. I have trouble with the other ones. Who coordinates? Is there one are you as the pastor? Are you in charge of the functioning of the church, the building?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. So I had somebody who came in and did a little bit of a tour, and they said, "So you're the general CEO." Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Yeah.
And so have my pulse on the finger of
Yeah.
whatever's happening, but try not to do everything myself. But when you're first starting a new
Yes.
thing and you're a small congregation, you do more than maybe you want to, and then as
The pastor,
it grows,
the reverend, the rector
can-
always
very much the same.
lives at 24/7 practically. May not seem it, but you're in that place.
Yes.
And that mindset that the health and welfare of both the building and the people is important. Interesting. So Hope Chapel has developed into a community hub
Yes.
also. So religion is one thing, and worship. Programs is another entirely. What Hope Chapel programs do you have?
Okay, so for us, they're one and the same.
Okay.
Because there's a verse that we have that we take from Romans 12, and it starts with, don't just pretend to love others, really love them.
Okay.
So if you're truly a Christ follower, somebody who loves God and wants to serve him, you got to do the things that Jesus told us to do.
Yep.
And he said everything's new, and he's made one rule, and that is love God, love others.
Yep.
And so that's got to be the baseline
And
for all
the
of us.
old golden rule.
It follows into all of that. And so,
My Sunday school's coming back to me.
right?
Where we
So
begin.
when we do our programming, it's specifically with that in mind. It's not about just putting together things to teach people and whatnot. It's We decided in 2020, so when I became the pastor, we needed to care for our community. We'd been small enough that the church had gotten a bit of a rut where you can get into survival mode. And survival mode is a death knell.
Yeah.
You will die as soon as you hit that. And too many churches do, and they grasp and claw their way for breath, and it's kind of like
The one thing you will always
healthy.
hear is, how do we attract new people to the congregant, to become a congregant?
For us, what it meant was serving.
Okay.
So we had to get our eyes off of ourselves and start looking for ways that we could care for our community. And COVID provided perfect opportunities.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we did, and it's not actually even something we do now, but we started with what was called a Good Neighbor Initiative. And so when everybody's in lockdown and everybody's, they're
Yes,
all...
which COVID did to us.
It really did. And so what I would do is every month we would slip something into the 75 households that I had identified immediately around the church, just into their mailbox. Just a little something, a little encouragement. It could be a little jar of honey. It could be a gift coupon.
Not like
it could
the
be a little
Jehovah's
note.
Witness that knocked on my door yesterday morning and gave me the...
No, I couldn't even talk to them. It was
pamphlet.
just a case of
Okay.
putting it in
Putting
their
something in.
something in
Okay.
their mailbox, something to encourage.
Was it
And
identified as coming from the Hope Chapel?
We said it was from Hope Chapel.
Okay.
We said, you know,
Okay.
we're here, we're praying for you,
Yep.
we care for you. But it wasn't overly religious. So on Pooh Bear Day, I had a little thing from Pooh Bear and said, we all need to be like Pooh.
My greatest
you know?
philosopher is Winnie the Pooh.
You know, and I appreciate him too.
Yep.
So we found ways to encourage people without
Interesting.
appearing that we're trying to ram our opinions,
Yep.
our faith
Yep.
onto people.
Right.
Because as much as we value our opinions and what we believe, you can't assume that you can only be nice to the people who believe the same way you do.
That too is a death knell.
Yes, and so for us, it was really, when we started serving our community, it was about finding ways to just be kind, finding ways to show that, trying to be obedient to Jesus' command is really what it
Interesting.
was, the bottom line of it.
So that's where we began. What was our
That's where
second
we
step?
began. So the second step was just looking for opportunities.
Okay.
Taking around, and it's kind of like, what's going on, what needs need to be met. And so one of the things was the high school lunch program. Now, what we're doing now is very different than what we did then.
What you started with.
So during COVID, when students were, if they left during the day, so if they left at lunch, they weren't permitted to go back into the building until lunch was done. So they might be out for an hour. It's cold in November.
It's cold
They
in
get
November.
themselves into trouble. They go into the convenience store and start doing things, and Tim Hortons and Subway. And we found that they were also coming and just sitting at the church. This is typically a lot of what they've always done.
Walked across that in the steps or
right.
into the building.
Right.
Okay.
And so, so what we started doing is just having a warming station.
Okay,
We were
let's hold
permitted-
it on the warming station because we're up
Okay.
to our first break.
Okay.
But when we come back, we're going to talk more about the lunch program that developed at Hope Chapel. Welcome back. This week I'm in conversation with, I'm only going to say at the start, Pastor Jane from the Hope Chapel. And just before the last break, you started to introduce one of your, I would say, probably major programs or outreach programs that you have at the chapel, which
That's
is
right.
the lunch program.
Yes, that's right. So I'd begun to explain why it is we started it in the first place. So a little background.
Okay.
For the last 35 years, the church has done little things across the road with the high school, on and off, depending upon who the minister was.
Okay.
And so 35 years ago, there was a gentleman named Richard Wright, who many people in our area who went to school at that time fondly remember.
Okay.
You know, he was the
Someone
one
they
who-
identified with?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So he lived in the parsonage. He would meet with the students. They would do a hot dog lunch once a week. And so there was lots of fun memories. But through the years that sometimes it's happened, sometimes it's not. So what
Well,
we're
in
doing,
my time, it was every 5 years you would change.
There you go.
Or
Well,
thereabouts.
and that
Now it's every
happens.
4 if they graduate.
That's right, that's right. And so what has happened is when COVID came and students' schedules were interrupted,
Okay.
and they found themselves either if they left the building, and for some of them, for any of us, to be locked into a building for 6 hours at a time and
Only
not
thing you
get
want
out
is fresh air.
is fresh air. But if they left at a certain point, they couldn't come back in until that whole period was done.
Okay.
So they were getting themselves into a little trouble. They were hanging out in different spaces, and we saw them hanging out at our steps. At the time, when we first started, we knew we could have 8 students in at a time because we could fit that many
Due to COVID, okay.
to circle around our foyer.
Okay.
And we provided them cookies and hot chocolate.
Okay.
And then in the next 20 minutes, we'd have somebody else. So it was like a warming station.
Okay.
That's how we started what we're doing now. In May of that year, we'd actually taken our pews out. So we look like a big coffee shop is what we look like.
Okay.
Everything's movable, and when groups come in, they can change it up according to their needs.
Change it up as long as you put it back?
As long as you put it back. And so,
Yes.
and they would all be able
Yep.
to attest
Yep.
to that.
Yep.
So with the high school students, it's evolved from having the small group, and then when it got shut down at times and students were not allowed in other buildings other than the school, we would open
Right.
up our double doors. We have a bar that we put up just against the doors, and we just hand it out to them.
Oh, not a bar, a bar.
No, it's a bar.
It's a bar. Oh, it's a bar,
But
okay.
no alcohol.
Okay.
This is a hot chocolate bar.
Oh, hot chocolate bar,
There you
okay.
go. Hot chocolate bar,
Okay,
iced tea bar.
perfect.
That kind of thing.
Okay.
Yes, different for a church, right, to have a bar? It's one of the fun things to introduce.
Yes.
And it's evolved since then. So we have gone from those early days to now, 5 years later, we average about 300 kids coming through our doors.
Wow.
A lot of them are just taking it to go because we can't sit that many
That many
students.
in your space.
But we can have about 120,
Okay.
and that's pretty full.
That's
And
fairly...
a lot of the seats get filled.
Yeah.
And so they're,
Again, it's a break from their routine at school.
yes, very much so. Some of them
And-
need that chance to decompress.
And they're still socializing, though.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Well, sometimes yes, and sometimes you get them on their phones, but it's free Wi-Fi. But they're doing it together. It's actually an interesting
They're texting
thing.
each other.
They're texting each other. They're playing games against each other.
Okay.
And or they're playing a game and then they switch out.
Okay.
And so, as much as we think, what are they doing?
Yeah.
They're not actually talking to
I
each
think
other.
that a lot when I look at kids on phones.
They are still
Walking
actually
down the street, too.
interacting with one another.
Okay.
So when they come into our space, they can play our grand piano if they know how to play.
Nice.
We have a foosball table that they are also permitted
If they
to
know
play.
how to play.
Well, they don't all know how to play, but they're free to do that. We have guitars that they can
Okay.
hang out and do different things with. On Tuesdays, we open up a creative table. So it has different art supplies, and they are free to come and work with one of the volunteers. It's been me at this point on Tuesdays. And we just, we create stuff, and we
Okay.
talk, and we chat, and it's just very informal. Students can get their community service hours when they come by serving one another.
Okay.
Thursdays after school, they can bake cookies with me that we serve
Okay.
up to the students on Friday,
Friday.
the very next day.
Okay.
They can help with donation sorting for another program that we have. There's multiple ways that we're interacting and engaging with
So
the
I want
students.
to back up to 300 hot dogs.
Yeah, well, actually, no.
No?
300 students.
Oh, students.
550 hot dogs was last week.
Okay. Students are growing entities, and
Yes.
they're hungry. We do have, it doesn't sound as if it's really a food insecurity, although I'm sure some
No.
of the kids that come
Absolutely.
may or may not
Absolutely.
have hot dogs at home, or may or may not have the money to buy something at CCI. In the cafeteria still works there? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So is there a cost to doing this, coming to the hot dog lunch?
For the students?
For the students.
No. So the food that is given to the students, for the most part, is all free. So everybody can get a cookie and a drink. So in the hot weather, it's iced tea and iced coffee.
Okay.
In the winter, we still keep the iced tea because not everybody likes hot chocolate, but we go through a lot of hot chocolate.
Okay.
So last year, we could serve in one day 100 liters of hot chocolate.
That's a lot of hot chocolate.
It's a lot of hot
Okay.
chocolate. It's so I calculated over the year, just this last school year, we gave out 55,000 drinks, 45,000 cookies, 22,000 hot dogs. And hot dogs are only done on Wednesdays.
Okay.
Okay, they're only done on
Other
Wednesdays.
than that, it's a drink and a cookie.
A drink and a cookie or some
Okay.
other big
Yep,
treat.
okay.
We do have Mr. Noodles, like ramen,
Okay.
that people can purchase for 75 cents, and that just covers our costs. And then we take that money, we go buy some more. And we do
So
have a
it can
volunteer.
be almost participatory.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
And we have a
interesting.
volunteer who he likes to help a little bit, and he brings homemade soup. So
Okay,
they run a
that's
bed
nice.
and breakfast.
Okay.
So they bring homemade soup. He sells it for the same price because there are some students, they do not need the food.
Yeah.
And if they'll just take it and then you find it in the garbage. Well, we don't want to see that happen.
that's a waste.
And it doesn't happen very often, but it does
Yeah.
happen. So that little bit of extra cost
You're
helps cover that. But we also have students who can't afford that. They are food insecure, but they keep that information very close to the chest.
Yeah.
So when I find an individual who is in that situation, and we have a handful that I've been able to identify, not very many of that number of students, but I have been able to identify. We keep some microwavable meals in our freezer, in our kitchenette, and they don't have to ask me. They just go, they take what they need, and so it allows them to have the dignity of not having to come and ask for food. But we've identified, we've talked, they know, and we're good.
and they know the system.
Yes,
Interesting.
Yes.
That was a lot of hot dogs you talked about.
yes, it is.
What is your annual cost for the program? Do you know approximately?
So the annual cost for the program, if you add the portion of my salary that is time that is given to it, is about 55,000.
Okay.
So not exorbitant when you consider how much
How
we're
many?
buying,
Yeah.
and but
Well, buying, creating, making.
buying and creating,
Yeah,
making,
it's amazing.
and I'm Dutch, so I tend to go cheap. If I can find the deal,
Yeah.
I'll find the deal. So we make that money stretch as far as we can.
So we obviously need donations.
Yes,
Do you go out and buy everything?
we do. We do.
Okay.
We have standing orders because we're dealing in quantities that I can't just go to a store and pick
And
up.
say, hi, like
Hi,
500 hot dogs.
Right?
Yeah.
And so a standing order at Freshco for the buns and the
Okay.
hot dogs, and then and also the hot chocolate when we get into that season,
Right,
because we
okay.
go through between 42 and 50 of the large cans every week. Wow. So it's just not something you can just count on
Do
being there.
kids bring a reusable cup or mug, or are
They
we?
can if they want,
Okay.
but we have paper.
You have paper
We
as
have
well,
the
okay.
paper.
Okay.
Because a lot of them don't.
Yep. I find more and more are, but one hand definitely has a phone in it, so
Yes,
it's harder to have the carry on with the.
that's right.
So that's a lot of money to raise.
It is.
How do we go about raising it?
Well, little historical picture.
Okay.
How we started all of this is because if I had said to somebody 5 years ago, this is what we plan to do, this is what they would have
Here's
said,
my 5-year plan.
you're nuts. It's not going to happen. And so what we were able to do is we had a parsonage and we had the church building.
Okay.
And our church was small enough, though, we weren't maintaining both properly.
Okay.
So we sold the parsonage. And
Okay.
we took those funds
Okay.
and we fixed up the building, the church building.
Okay.
We put a little bit more towards staffing, and the rest has gone into the community.
Okay.
And so we were able to start everything that we have, and we knew that as of Christmas last year, Christmas 2024, the funds were done.
Okay.
The funds were done, and so then we went to the community and said, we need some help. You've seen what we're doing, and if you like it, it requires the community to come and do it. We'll do it as long as we can do it.
Yep.
But if we don't have the funds, it's done. Like, that's the reality. We're not going to try to
And
struggle.
that is not
and-
going to stop the students walking across and.
No, they'll still
coming in.
come and
Yep.
hang out at the.
Yep.
But if we don't have the funds, then the church literally will just close.
Okay.
Like the whole thing. So it's not just our
Okay.
programs. Like, we have made the decision that if we can't do that,
Okay.
we're not really being the church as I think it needs to be. So one of the things I did with
Okay.
our elder board is I said to them, if we're not prepared to be doing something with the students, then we need to get out of the way and let the group in who will. because I don't think it's coincidence that God has got a church across from the high school.
True.
To show kindness and to do whatever. And so they were game, and so that's what we've done. And that is kind of how, as long as we have the funds to continue, we will continue. But this last year we needed...
You have the funds and you have volunteers?
So volunteers come from everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere. So we don't just rely on church people.
Okay.
We have small businesses, the hiring hub for Blue Mountain, the Living Water Resort, both supply staff. We have our deputy mayor, Tim Fryer, who comes on board and helps out. We have multiple people just from within the community, and we have other churches that kind of bring volunteers as well. So it really is a community effort to make it work.
I'm going to come back to it. We still need money.
Well, we do. So this past year, where we were at, because our savings were gone, is we need $180,000 to run a year.
Okay.
Of
so you've got an
everything.
annual budget.
We have an annual budget. That's $180,000. $30,000 of it covers the church stuff, and the congregation is good for that.
Okay.
We've got that.
So we're down to 150.
It's the rest of it, and so we went to the community again this year and said we need $150,000. 75 of which we have to receive before the end of July to be able to commit to the first semester.
Okay.
And we got it.
Good. So now the second 75.
So then we got to get the second 75 before the end of the fiscal year, and we've already raised another 26,000 of that.
Okay.
So we still have a little way to go to be able to do the full year, but it's that whole living by faith.
Yes. And when we talk about community, where is your money coming from? Does it come from service clubs? Does it come from, we always start with individuals and then we start building up.
All of the above.
All of the above, okay.
All of the above. We have different businesses helping out. We have, as I said, churches helping out. We have community members helping out. We have like other groups. There's a lot.
Interesting.
Making this happen.
Let's hold that thought and we will come back after this break and talk more about Hope Chapel. Welcome back. This week I'm in conversation with Jane, Pastor Jane of the Hope Chapel. And just before the break, we were talking about the annual budget to provide all their programs. And I'm amazed it's as low as it is, but it's still a monumental amount of money to raise annually.
Yes.
So you've got your hot dog program's taken care of for semester number 1. There are 2 semesters, so you're working on semester 2. If people wanted to donate to it, does it have to be a certain amount? Does it have to be a hot dog? You don't want them physically bringing you food.
Right. Well,
We need money.
there are some things that we can use food for, but not so much the hot dog lunch, because we have to have, because we deal in such large quantities, we need those standing orders. And so when people give us hot dogs and buns,
That doesn't work.
we actually use it for another one of our programs.
Okay.
And so that helps out in that way.
Okay.
So we can take real physical donations of things, but money's always the thing is
what is the famous
most
phrase?
needed.
Cash is king.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
So, because you need to know that you can afford it for.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So,
is there any donation too small?
no.
Okay.
We
So
actually
if I have a spare $25,
we actually have
or
an
$10.
individual who started when his grandson was coming to the church. He would donate, I think it was $2
Okay.
once a month.
Okay.
Not a huge amount.
No.
It kind of gets eaten up in processing fees, but his heart is there. His heart is right, and he wanted to contribute, and he still does. So little amounts, and we've had up to $25,000 in one shot.
Okay.
So
Can people walk into the church when you're open and give you cash?
they can.
They
We
can.
prefer they not come in the morning, though,
Okay.
because of the
Afternoons.
lunch program.
Okay.
But afternoons, if I'm around,
I'm sure it's pretty busy for the lunch program.
it is, which is why we try to avoid the morning deliveries of anything. So
Interesting. Okay.
So people make donations through Canada Helps, through PayPal, through e-transfer, through checks.
Okay.
There's loads
Now,
of
is
ways.
all that information on your website?
It is.
Okay, so that's the easy way to find out.
That's
And
right.
if you're a technophobe, can we call you and talk to you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No problem with that at all.
or
you
come with
may
our
not-
checkbook.
You may not get a hold of me right away,
Right.
so please don't have a problem with leaving a message on the answering machine.
Don't
Because
be
unlike
shy.
some, we will return the call.
Do you know, I do different things, and when I was in business, if somebody phoned and left a message and I'd call them back, they were forever, thank you for calling me back. And I'm
Right.
thinking, but you left a message. That's what I'm supposed to do.
And we still do
But
that.
it's amazing how many people
Yes.
really appreciate a timely callback. Mightn't be in the next hour, but within
happen.
24 hours? Okay, super. Now, you mentioned other programs that you might use donations for.
Right.
What is your other big program at Hope
So
Chapel?
the other big program we have is called the Community Cupboard. And as an extension, we have what's called the Giving Tree. And
Okay.
it's inside the church, we have this room that has been designated to provide free clothing, household items, food, toiletries, and cleaning supplies.
Okay.
Now, the community is really good about donating clothing,
Okay.
and as well as some of the household stuff. But when it comes to the food, toiletries, and cleaning supplies, we're buying that every week and going through a lot. So this year, so far, we've helped about 130 households.
Wow.
And so we have a drop-in that you do not have to sign up for. People just come. It gets around word of mouth. And if they're in need, if we have it, they can have it.
Okay.
There's no way to filter out who's not going to. Now, if we see that somebody is maybe overusing the program, we have conversations with them. We try to get them plugged into other resources as well.
Where they can find their way.
Absolutely.
Basic question. Toiletries, what are you looking for?
What wouldn't you want to live without?
My toothbrush and my toothpaste.
How about some toilet paper?
Toilet paper.
Body
Okay.
wash.
Body wash. Deodorant?
Razors.
Razors,
Feminine
okay.
products. I mean,
Okay.
anything that you know
Buy
you
for your
want,
household.
then we can
Okay.
use that.
Okay.
Yes. Same thing goes with kitchen supplies.
Okay.
One of our most desired products is paper towel. You wouldn't think that paper
Okay.
towel is a novelty, but if you don't have money, you don't go buy a lot.
I buy them when they're on sale.
Yes?
And I've also learned that the yellow products that come out of Loblaws have a paper towel, 4 of them for a reasonable price regularly. But still, if you don't have $5 or $10 in your pocket, you don't have paper towels.
Or if that $5 or $10 has to go to food.
Yeah. Interesting. And those are the tough choices being made in our community.
They really are.
And I think we all need to be cognizant, we who have roofs over our head, food in our fridges and on our shelves need to look around and realize that there are people who don't.
Well, and our community cupboard actually helps a variety of people. So we've had a number of people who are newly immigrated to Canada.
Okay.
And they come from hot countries in the middle of winter. So they need winter clothes and they need setup, but they only use our resources until they've got it sorted out.
Okay.
And then, because they don't want to be receiving, they
Well, I
want to
think
be
the
giving back.
old-fashioned word was you don't want to rely on charity.
That's true.
That was
That's
sort of
true.
a euphemism that was used. But you're right, people who come with not a lot and are helped want
And they're
to,
very grateful and they give
yeah,
back.
and they give back.
They
yeah.
give back.
Yeah.
And we have families that just, there's too much month to the amount of money they have. So these are working people.
Yeah.
They just can't make it work that long. And
Can't
then,
quite
of course,
stretch.
there's the seasonal work that happens in Collingwood and our area.
True.
So you
Yep.
get people who are doing snow removal, they're doing landscaping.
Yes.
There's this gap in
There's a gap.
between that they can't cover.
rainy
and so,
season.
So sometimes they need
Yeah.
a little help
Yeah.
just
Okay.
during that time.
So it's almost like a bridge
Absolutely.
between.
And so
Okay.
we call ourselves a supplemental food bank as opposed to
Okay.
an actual food bank. So those who need it every month,
Yep.
we encourage them to get connected with the Salvation Army too,
Yep.
and with St. Vincent de Paul,
De Paul.
the other
Yep.
the other means.
I've learned
that
a
we
lot
have.
about St. Vincent de Paul. I had both Father Michael and Michael Quinn from St. Vincent de Paul
Okay.
on talking about last
of what they
season.
do.
And I think even for both of them, they were astounded at the need.
Absolutely.
And I think unless
there's
we open
lots-
our eyes and acknowledge it, for starters, we can't help to try and solve parts of the problem.
That's
We're
right.
never going to solve it all. So one thing I wholeheartedly believe, unless every single person in the entire world starts caring about someone else.
If we take care of our circle,
Yep.
the world would be taken care of.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you have what my church would have called a deacon's cupboard, but on steroids.
There we go. There
On
we go.
steroids. I don't think our deacon's cupboard had all that stuff, but it's interesting because we're kind of coming full circle. They started in churches. As a kid, we didn't really have a food bank. And the first one we sort of had was when the Salvation Army developed they sort of formalized their needs. And then now we have so many different options. And there are people who bop from one to the other,
That is true.
And that either shows a lack of initiative to take care of themselves or inability to take care of themselves. And that's part of it.
We do have cases where there is generational
Yeah.
poverty because it's very hard to get out of.
Yes.
And so when you are born into a family that does not have the means, it's really challenging for them to get anywhere beyond that as well. So there are those
Well, to
individuals
understand
as
what
well.
else is out there. And I mean, we now live in a community, I mean, my audience has heard me say this before. When I was a kid, pretty well everybody had a job. We're no longer in that world any longer.
we're
There are
not.
a lot of people who are not employed, do not receive regular money unless it's a government supplement of some form. And even that doesn't go very far. And the challenges that I find coming out of COVID are the costs.
Well,
Everything costs more.
And a lot of people have employment, but they're underemployed.
Yeah.
See, that's a new challenge too that our society is facing.
And there are businesses that work to the part-time rule, so they don't incur the expenses of all the
That's right.
extras, shall we say, or any of the benefits and things, and then that gets shifted on to the individual family to cover the cost of.
And they often can't.
And they can't, so they do without. So when we see the federal government stepping up with the dental program, that's a great help.
It is.
But people have to be in the system to be eligible.
Yes.
And that's another challenge because not everybody is in the system. So we need to take better care, open our eyes, look around. I'll never forget, probably 6 or 7 years ago, I did a show on homelessness in Collingwood, specifically Collingwood. And often I find when I was taping weekly, people would say, what are you taping this week? And I'd say homeless. We don't have any homeless people. And I'd say, yes, we do. And I said, I can tell you where they sleep because I see them moving in the morning when I'm out walking my dog. You know, they get up and they would move on. And now we've reached the point in our community where pretty well all the banks, their ATMs that were the handiest machines to have in the world, and we all got trained to go to them, now are only available during bank hours because their doors are locked otherwise because people are looking for warm spots to sleep. And it's so funny when you look at it and you think, but that's, if I might as well go in the bank if I can't, you know, go into the ATM and when I need to. But people did not feel comfortable. People complained. And that was the reaction of the banking community. Then we'll not have them available.
Right.
And we have the same problem with our bus shelter. I mean, at one point, I was listening to council, and they had something like in a quarter, 300 calls for the police to go to our transit terminal at 2nd and Pine due to an incident. And you think, wow, okay.
Well, I think what we're seeing is just we haven't put enough resources into properly helping people right from the get-go.
Okay.
And so we've slapped on so many bandages, but it just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger until you actually deal with the foundational issues. And so I'm hoping that with what we do with our high school lunch program, what we do with our community cupboard, we're actually helping to alleviate some of that.
You're managing to alleviate, but you're also teaching, by example, younger generations.
That's our hope.
And I think if they have that warm, fond memory of something that touched them, they might be more inclined to reach out and try and help.
Well, and it's interesting just this year, so we haven't been at it to have too many graduating classes.
Okay.
But this year we actually have a young man who graduated last year and continues to help us this year, but as an adult volunteer, because he wants to give back.
Well, you can probably, what is it with fishing? You can throw your line out how many hundreds of times before you catch a fish. So
That's right.
But I think if you can touch one life at a time and have an impact, that is phenomenal. So magically, we're up to our next break.
Okay.
So join us when we come back, and we'll maybe talk a little bit about where Pastor Jane would like to go with the future of Hope Chapel. This week I have Jane, Pastor Jane from the Hope Chapel on Cameron Street, here telling me about everything she's doing, and I'm kind of gobsmacked because I'm so impressed. And I want to say thank you. On behalf of our community, thank you for what you're doing and what you're evolving into, because the Little Hot Dog program has grown.
Yes.
And probably would continue to grow. You might put the cafeteria out of business.
Yes.
At
Well,
CCI.
I don't know that we'll do that.
Okay.
Or nor the fry truck that still does a steady business.
That's a very steady business.
Still a
Yes.
steady business. But, you know, thank you for the thanks.
Yeah.
But without the community,
Yeah.
this would not be possible. We definitely are aiming to be a center of community care, and that requires us then to reach out into the community to help support what's going on. We can't do it all. We're too small. And so I'm so thankful that we've had local businesses, individual members, other churches.
And you've had
just
the
all
ability to
coming
grow in
in.
increments.
We have, and that's
Okay.
been a good thing, because if we grew from day one to what we are today, we couldn't have handled it.
Yes.
It wouldn't have been possible. And so even this year, as we've opened up our doors to the students for another year, we've kind of left off, we've picked up where we left off last
Okay.
year. It hasn't gone down at all.
Okay.
The new grade 9s have
You've
all
not
heard
seen,
about us.
You've not heard.
There's not
seen
been
the
any
flux.
low, there's no
Okay.
been dip.
Okay.
So I suspect that we will just continue to grow
Okay.
as much as we can
Yep.
and help facilitate the students to have an enjoyable lunch hour, as well as for the people who come into our community cupboard to get the things they need. But at some point, you run out of funds. You run out of the means
Yes.
to do any more than what
Any
you're
more
currently
than you have.
doing.
Interesting. So I threw a curve at you just before the last break and said,
Little bit.
the future. If you had an idea of where you'd like to go, I'm not saying this month, next month, where would you like to be in 2 years, 5 years?
Wherever God wants us. So our perspective has always been to look for the opportunities, the needs within the community, and the opportunities that God is giving us. And I really do believe that as the community comes together and supports us and the money comes in, there's a larger person bringing that all together, a big picture. I'm a church, it's church, I'm a minister, and so this is where our belief system is. But it has always come together so well that I think as long as we have the money, we will continue to grow as we are able to. So what we were 5 years ago to what we are now is huge, hugely grown.
Yeah.
And there's room for some more growth. What we do in our community cupboard could certainly grow if we had more money to buy more stuff.
Right.
But that's all dependent on that. So you don't want to take on too much. So incremental growth is great.
And honestly, sometimes it's not wrong to say, I'm sorry, we don't have that.
This is what we've got.
Yeah.
Yes.
And because that too teaches a lesson. it can happen if only I go and take. I don't really learn that it's not an endless supply.
Right, right.
So it's
And it also is, one organization can't do it all.
yeah.
All of these things that we have within our community of providing food and clothing.
Yeah, not just
and
your
help.
5 in the building, but
Exactly.
out. Now,
Everywhere.
is there a formal, informal network of all the?
I would say the
nonprofits?
closest thing that we have, because there's been different attempts to kind of figure out
Yep.
who all is doing
who does what?
but I think the closest we have is 211.
Okay.
So when somebody calls
Which
that
is-
number,
yeah.
it kind of gives them an idea of what resources are out there
Okay.
that they can access.
And then we're not trying to regulate any one of you.
Right.
We're just
Right.
saying this is what
This
they're
is
able
what
to
is out
offer.
there, and this is what they have. So
And honestly, folks, if you haven't ever really checked out 211, that is a phenomenal that is the phenomenal resource.
yes,
in our
that's the place
community.
to start.
Yeah.
It absolutely
Because
is.
you phone, you talk, they ask you questions, and they find a way for you to fit into what you need. And we are a very giving community and surrounding area. But as you say, the need is great, and it's growing.
And it is. And so you asked me about what we would like to do for the future. And if you ever come to Hope Chapel, it feels more like a home, to be honest. We have a laundry room, we have a family room, we have the living room, we have the kitchen, we have, so it's, there's offices, but it's a different kind of church setup because of what we're doing.
Yep.
And one of the rooms that we have is that I dubbed the family room. And something I tried last year, but we don't currently have any little people.
Okay.
But I'd love for members of the community to see it as a space that they can bring their children and just hang out and play and bring their friends, do that as they wait to pick up their kids from Cameron Street, because we're just down the road from them as well. So that is an opportunity again.
You're also down from Jean Vanier.
Right, and so that's an opportunity, again, another area that we might actually be able to open our doors and help the community in. But it really has to be something that they feel they have a need for. And then they find out about it and they follow
maybe
through.
ask a question or two. And
Absolutely, absolutely. So
interesting, because there are so many mums and baby groups out there.
there are. And so I know that there was, some of our board members thought that that would be an ideal use of our space, because after COVID, all of our little classrooms were no longer the right size.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
which is part of the reason why we started giving it out as office space to various organizations and allowing them to utilize the space. But what joins them all is this huge room downstairs, and it's kind of like, what can we do with this? And so again, it's a very comfortable space that's just couches and toys and whatever else. So yeah, we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah, my brain has just clicked, realizing with Jean Vanier down the road, I'm sure you have some of those students coming in through your doors as well.
Well, see, they're not called Jean Vanier anymore.
Oh, sorry, Our Lady of Hope
Our Lady of the Bay.
of the Bay. Well, I'm
Yeah,
close.
they're OLB.
Oh,
That's,
LB.
OLB.
Okay.
So actually, a good third of the students that come through our door, we can get 100 of them easily on a day, when the weather's nice. When
'Cause they have to walk down the road.
When the weather's not nice,
Yeah.
they tend not to come in. And so we know that the seasons will affect how many people are coming, how many people are staying in versus just going through.
Gotcha.
And we just roll with that. Like a restaurant has to, whenever they're
true,
open, right?
true.
You really...
And you really have, and I don't want to run out of time, but I want to say you have two main programs with your lunches and your food
Community.
ministry,
That's
shall we
right.
say,
That's right.
over the lunch hour with the kids. And I think you're one of the few places where kids feel comfortable enough to go en masse.
And they do, en
they do.
masse, very much so. And the really nice thing I like about the partnerships that we have with the other groups that come in is if we have too many hot dogs. So last week we gave out 560 hot dogs.
Okay.
We make 575. But
Okay.
sometimes if something's going on in the school or it's miserable weather, we'll have 100 left over. Well, what do you do
Okay.
with all that? Well,
How long does it take to cook 500 hot dogs?
I get there at 7 in the morning.
Wow. Okay.
But they're served at 10:40. They have a
Okay.
very early lunch.
Okay.
And so, but if we have extensive leftovers,
Right.
the mobile soup kitchen comes in on Wednesdays to do some of their food prep, and I leave a sign on the fridge saying hot dogs for you.
Yeah,
and
gotcha.
there's no waste.
There's no waste.
No waste.
Which is a wonderful challenge that all of us face. In this day and age, we can't afford to waste any food.
No.
And I'm always intrigued whenever they do, garbage analysis and this sort of thing. And they say things like 20% of your food is wasted. Like it just goes in the green bin or wherever. And I think, how can you possibly do that? I grew up in a household where we had, sort of a hamburger on mashed potatoes one night. The next night there'd be a little bit of the hamburger mixture left. It would go into a macaroni and cheese. Like you just keep moving them along to make things and only buy appropriately, that you're not, unless you've got a lovely freezer and you can buy something when it's on sale, make a bunch of it and freeze it individually or in family sizes.
And that's a challenge, having
That's
the freezer.
Yes. Not everybody does, and not every one of today's refrigerators are like what I call freezer friendly.
No.
They're kind of weird. Like I have one that has a pull out, but it has sections. And I mean, we used to have a big freezer that you just open, that you put stuff in.
Well, and things have changed as far as food goes, because in our community cupboard, if we have a new person come in, we often begin with just asking, what's your setting? What's your situation? Because not everybody has a stove. Not everybody has a kettle. Not everybody has a toaster. And so depending upon what they have access to be able to prepare food, often determines what they can take, what is actually going to work for them. So a lot of people like to give fresh produce, but unless you have the means to actually cook it up or whatever.
Or prepare it, or preserve it.
Or preserve it, it often can't be used the way we want. And so we try to keep a mixture of things. So we'll have the pull top Chef Boyardee, as well as actual things that you have to prep.
Actual pasta that you prep and put together.
So you have to keep that all in mind.
Do you find you're getting requests in some ways for any ethnic foods?
Halal. We do have individuals who come to our community cupboard, and I think we have 4 families right now, and essentially they're working, they're trying to do their best, but they have large families. They have 6 in a family, and they don't always have the same opportunities to work here that they would have had in their home country. And so they're doing jobs that are beneath their education, and they're trying to make the best of it, but they don't have the same opportunities. So we make sure that we try to have some things for them too. So when it comes to halal, we can't always buy the halal chicken or beef because it's more expensive, but they eat fish. Fish is good. And so we try to make sure that we are meeting those needs. We don't go out of our way to try to get things that are gluten-free. But if somebody donates
I was going to go to gluten-free and vegan and vegetarian.
If somebody donates those, then we make sure that they're in a separate place so that those people who like that kind of stuff, it's available. But we don't go out of our way to buy it. So
I promised you the hour would go quickly, and it has. And I thank you because I've learned a lot. I think I'm going to come visit. I want to see this in action.
Absolutely.
On a Wednesday. I think it would be wonderful. So
any of the days are busy.
Okay, any of the days are busy. Thank you, Pastor Jane, for all that you do. From our community to you, thank you. And thank you for joining us. And if you're curious, check out their website or drop in someday and have a chat.
Call ahead.
Call ahead. Okay, call ahead. I'm just opening your doors and inviting you. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.